Hey everyone, Wausau Mayor Katie Rosenberg here with Laura Scudiere, Marathon County Health Officer. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Katie. How are you?
I'm all right. I think we should just jump right into this first question because it's about how we're doing. I know we've been talking about the numbers increasing. Where are we at now?
It's not good, Katie. We are moving up in our case counts every day. And one of the concerning things for me is that according to DHS, we're at a high level and they're looking at moving us to critically high. Our 7-day confirmed and probable case count is 119, which is
a lot.
It's like where we were with cases this time last year. And so, again, the hospital systems are not doing great. ICUs are full. There's a lot of people in the COVID beds. If you go to the emergency rooms right now, your wait could be a long, long time. Back in the day when we were talking about, flattening the curve, we didn't succeed there. The curve is up and it looks like a curve. And so people are going into the hospital right now. It's really sad to see, Katie.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating too, because, we do have ways to address this, right? Like we have had a substantial amount of our population vaccinated. We know that wearing masks will help us stop the spread still. I saw a post from, I think, the Wisconsin Hospitals Association yesterday, and of the 38 counties that we're a member of, there were 2 open ICU beds. I mean, that's scary. I mean, one car crash, there are things that happen outside of COVID. So it's hard to not express frustration with where we are because we know what we should be doing.
Yeah, I feel that, Katie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to keep kind of leaning into this frustration, I think, during this 3 things. But we know that the holidays are coming up. And so, a lot of people are trying to decide what are we going to do here. So if people are going to spend some time with maybe family members who they don't live with, how can we keep ourselves safe and keep each other safe? What does that look like?
Yeah. So how do if you have a holiday event planned, how do you keep yourself safe? Yeah. Okay. So the first thing is to really plan ahead, and it would be the best thing would be to plan a gathering where everybody who's over the age of 5 is vaccinated. That would keep everybody safe. Another idea is if you're eligible for your booster dose, get it now. The clinic site at NTC has expanded its hours, Katie, so people can walk in to get their booster dose, and they offer all the different kinds of vaccine. So you can really choose which kind you want. It's nice you can pick. It's a smorgasbord.
Yes. Yes. Before you feast, decide.
Little shot. You can also get tested. That's the thing, especially if you are symptomatic. So if you have symptoms, the best thing to do is to stay home and
watch
tested.
some Lifetime holiday movies.
Oh, I watched
Take
one
care
last
of yourself.
night. Yes, there are all kinds of good ones right now.
Yes, so many good ones.
Yep. If you travel, make sure you follow the CDC's guidance. And so, like, if you're going on a plane, you have to wear a mask. It's the rule right now.
Federal guidelines.
Exactly.
We're still masking on buses because of that. So.
Yep. And then let's see. Make sure that if you're going to go out and shop for things, that maybe you think about how you can reduce the number of trips you're making or the amount of time you're out in the community, going to be within 6 feet of other people. So remember, when you're out and about, wear a mask. That's something that has really fallen to the wayside locally here, Katie. I don't know about you, but I went to the grocery store the other day and I was the only one masked.
Yeah. I find myself kind of going to places where they're still encouraging. So I'll wear my mask, but yeah, it's tough. You stick out when you're the only one, and it's now political. It's tough.
Yeah. And then the big one, Katie, if you've been exposed, if you know you've been exposed to COVID, you need to quarantine. And what that looks like right now is staying home. Again, the gold standard is 14 days. But you can get out of quarantine early. There are some ways to do so. And I recommend people, if they're interested in that, they can call us at the health department at 715-261-1900, and we'll have someone walk them through it.
Okay, good. So you still have people who can help us out and make sure we're doing the right stuff when we find out we need to quarantine. So thank you.
Mhm.
Those are my two things for you today.
Oh, good. Well, I have one for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
So
I hope.
we get a lot at the health department that I think that you would be able to answer really well for us and help out me and my staff is that this is a hard time. Like we're going through a crisis still, and it's hard for some of us to go to events in which we have members of the family that have different point of views about stuff like vaccination and COVID and how we should be approaching COVID. So I want to get your sense of like how can we have those discussions in a way that is productive and like respectful and like we all have that one person in our family that
Oh
has
yeah.
just completely different views than us. Like
Oh
how do you
yeah.
approach those situations, Katie?
Oh man. Well, so I get to deal with stuff like this basically every day, because politics, that's where I live, right? But I think probably the first thing, if you know you're entering a situation where you will encounter people with differing political views or views on masks and COVID, it's maybe to assume positive intent about that person just right off the bat, right? Like, don't go into it thinking this person's an idiot. They don't know what they're talking about. They are misinformed. And like some of that stuff might be true, but you should go into it thinking this person has life experiences that have brought them to this place where this is what they believe. It's like not automatically feeling combative with them. And also, sometimes asking questions is helpful. You know, my aunt always said that she liked to use the Columbo method when kind of encountering people. And so that means like asking questions like, oh, well, why do you think that? Or, I mean, you can find out a lot of information and there might even be opportunity to, you hear something and that that is actually not the case anymore or something like that. You can maybe try and gently correct it. But, I think again, like if it's your family and you're visiting them and you care about, even if you don't care about that person, you probably care about the other people you're around. So, not trashing people is really important. It's not, your family isn't the Facebook comment section. You probably shouldn't rattle off any cable news talking points. I think it's really hard. It's really hard. And I find myself sometimes just, if you're not getting through and you're not having that conversation, like, okay, just accept that. And maybe it's time to move on. Maybe talk about other things. This is a really good opportunity to find out all the cool stuff that's maybe in Nature magazine or National Geographic. So you have cool things to talk about outside of news and politics and COVID. I know I've been doing that, although like I've been reading up on Foreign Affairs magazine, and that's maybe not going to help me. But we'll see.
Do you have any kind of benign things that we can bring up that in case those conversations don't go great?
Oh my goodness. You cannot ever go wrong with like cat or dog memes. And there's this dude on YouTube right now who's been using these cat and dog videos of really funny noises they're making and like looping it to sound. I recommend kind of checking that out. It's very interesting. Once you watch one, you want to watch them all. If you're feeling some extra schadenfreude, maybe start talking about the Squid Game, right? Like that's a thing. I know that people have been talking about that. Or another Netflix thing that isn't, I'm probably watching Schitt's Creek for the, I don't know, 7th time because it brings me joy.
I've been really enjoying Bake Squad lately.
Oh, I've heard about that one.
Yeah, baked goods. It's a perfect Thanksgiving related. It's good to have it on in the background,
Yeah, it's totally good. And like if you don't want to argue about COVID, there's a lot of other issues that you could argue about. We can talk about the infrastructure bill that just passed and like, is that acceptable for government, right? Like, what should it be spent on? That's a fun daydream. There's the American Families Plan that they're talking about now. Let's talk about that. What does social infrastructure look like? Again, I don't know. I grew up in a family that was very politically oriented. So we dove right in. I remember one Thanksgiving during the Iraq War that we had a battle over the holiday dinner, and yeah, sometimes you just do that too.
Yeah, I think that some families are really predisposed to be able to have that kind of discussion and everybody be okay and just it's time for pie. And I think lately it's been things are so emotional and so politicized. And Katie, like you said, like when I've been successful at having those conversations, those are conversations in which I've talked less and listened
Yes.
more, right?
That's always what it is. That is what's going to get you there every time.
Mhm.
Ask questions, listen to hear and understand what they're saying. It's hard. It's really hard sometimes.
Mhm.
And that's okay too. I mean, we've been doing this for a year and a half, 2 years almost,
Mhm.
and we're exhausted. Nobody's had a real vacation because when you come back, it's to this again. So it's hard. So maybe having a little grace with people too, like just understand that that's how they're dealing with like this shared trauma that we're going through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, Katie. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I hope
I
you have a good
appreciate you.
Thanksgiving, however you're celebrating.
All right, you too, Katie.